G'day folks, welcome to another episode of Bandaged Cube Creations. Well, in today's video we are looking at the Bandaged Clock Jupiter. This is the hardest of the bandaged clocks, and I have to say I am super happy with how I'm going to solve it for a very particular reason. That reason is because when Burjo designed these or presented these as a series, he put the first few in the sort of fairly straightforward, possibly mid-range. The Uranus might have been a mid-range one, but this one he put in the very difficult, along with Alcatraz and past the Bicube. Now, I'm going to tell you that I do not believe it is very difficult. I believe it is trickier than the others. And the reason I say that is because I can solve it. And if I can solve it at this point in my Bandaged Cube career, it is absolutely not very difficult. All I can presume is that he might have been using a slightly different method, perhaps that just seemed to make it trickier. Very unusual. Normally it'd be the other way around. I would be using the trickier methods and he would do it incredibly easily. So with that being said, what is this thing? Well, the Bandaged Jupiter, or the Bandaged Clock Jupiter, has only one face with no clock on it. All the other faces have clocks. And so you can see, even with this setup, the white face, which has no clocks, can't actually turn at the moment because of that, So the patterning of the clocks is according to the main diagram that he put on the Twisty Puzzles thread. So you can go there and have a look at that if you're curious as to why this is up and not sideways and things like that. So Bandaged Clock Jupiter, 5 clocks. Anything with 5 clocks and beyond is absolutely going to be tricky. And let me just demonstrate. The first thing that I would do in scrambling it is find a way to get most of the bits off where I want them. And the easiest way for me to do that, you may remember the Saturn cube. The Saturn cube was similar, but it had no yellow clock there. But the others were the same. And what I did for that was move these down there and then just happily go about my business scrambling. Now I can still do that. I've just got to be a little bit more careful because I've got this clock in the way here. So it takes slightly longer probably to get things as you want them. And then stuff like that happens and you've kind of got to move that off anyway. Let's have a look here. Then I'd move around to another one. And just keep trundling my way through this until I am happy with the scramble. And I get to a point like this and I've got the clocks kind of moved around from where they belong, and I've got pieces not next to where they belong. So I'm pretty happy with that scramble. So my method for this is initially just to get the clocks back into their position so that I can see what's what and see if we can notice anything that may help. So that's just a matter of turning what can be turned. Eventually they all will go back to position. Sometimes they're blocked a little more because of other pieces, like this one here. I'd like to turn that out the way. Can I turn that? No, so I'll turn that one, then put that there. Now I can turn that down. And where does that one go? Back to there. I reckon that is now all of them. Let's have a look. Yes. Okay, they're all back where they should be. And I want to look at this, and the first thing that I notice is that that lends itself to a fuse block. So it's a good idea to think, if that's a fuse block, is there any way that this could be extended to a big block? Well, if I've made that, then I could extend it in a few directions. For example, I could extend it up here, I could extend it that way, or I could extend it this way. And as it happens, the one that really catches my eye is extending it this way, because that clock is sitting in that position. So these 3 clocks are actually positioned really nicely. If I extend to this way, you can see the clock is not there, it's over that way. If I extend this way, I've got the same issue. So to me, that is the logical and obvious thing. First thing then is to make this fuse block red, white. So I've got to locate that edge and get it up to the top initially. And I also want it away from this green edge. So there's the red, white. I can turn it to there. I've got to move that off. So that's nice. And then that Can that be turned away? No, because that's got to turn. Now I'm good. Now, this one I can only turn sort of up like that to receive it. So at the moment, that is not going to be turned inable because it is flipped. So I just need to flip it first, and I can do that in the standard sort of method. That's good enough. I've flipped it over, and now when I turn it there, you can see it'll go into its position. So for this one, I would just turn it off, bring position up, put it on, undo. That red white edge is in, and I now want to place the white red blue, but I want to get the blue sticker on top here. Well, that just happens to be exactly there, which is unusual, but there it is. There are harder things we're going to have to do than that. And again, I would look and say, can I just place it here? No, I can't because of this clock. So I'm going to have to move it up to that position. That turns clearly. Does this one? Yes. So that can just be placed with 3 edge piece series. And when I put it back, the fuse block is done. Now you remember that I said there was one particular direction, and if I put this clock back to there, it's very clear now to see that is the direction. So I now want to do the green red edge, and I'll use this face to do it. Let's see if it needs to be flipped. It does not need to be flipped because that is the face that I'm going to turn. So once again, I can place that. Now I want to find the white, red, green edge and put it there with the white on top. Okay, so, sorry, I just said the edge, I meant the corner. That's the corner. I've got to find a way to get it up like this without disrupting that red, green edge. So I'll just turn around to here. I think that's good. Yes, I can do that and then return that clock. Now, if I put it over there, this one, I think I can actually turn both these faces no problem. So I might as well do that. And that is a big block made. And the really nice thing about that is that it has used up 3 of the clocks. That's fantastic. So I'm now going to hold it like this, put the big block at the back, and there's the remaining 2 clocks. Let's put these where they belong and see what's what. That one goes there, that one goes there. Now, very clearly, that is not an ideal position to be moving edges and corners and things like that. So what I want to do here is a front 2 and then a right. And that's going to be my main position for dealing with edges, corners, and also twisting corners as well. So because of that, what I need to identify is which edges do I need to place first. So if I put it back here, you can see these 2 are the last 2. I don't really want to worry about them. So let's do this and say, what are the 3 edges here? These are the last lot that I want to place. And where do they come from? Well, just follow these 2. There's one there. Then there's one here and one here. So then these 2 go to those positions. So those 3 edges are the last 3 that I want to do. And you can, if you follow them around, you'll see when I turn that and turn that, they all go into those positions. Okay, so any other edges are fair game. Not these 2, not that one. Let's look at this one here. This is supposed to be yellow-red. So yellow-red needs to go to green-orange. It's the first thing I'll look at. Yellow to green, that is good. So I can just do simple turns here. Very good. What's another one? If we look at, again, not these 3, I've got one here, which is supposed to be orange-green. So the orange-green, if I look at the coloring, is supposed to go to blue-yellow. There's the blue-yellow. Where's the orange-green? Up the top. Now that one, I can't just place it because the colors are wrong. So I can turn it like that potentially, except this clock gets in the way. So what I'll do is flip it over. And now I can bring its position up, put it onto the position, undo, undo. And that orange-green is in. Now, if you consider the remaining edges, that one's already been placed. What else have I got? I said if we again go to the standard position, So in fact, before we do that, let's do that there. That was one of them. Those two, have I done everything else? That is done. That is done. So I'm actually down to the last 3 edges now. And I've just got to look at those 3 edges and say, well, orange blue has to go to yellow blue, has to go to white orange. So that's my cycle. Blue orange to blue yellow. Okay, blue orange to blue yellow. Now at this point, I'm not going to worry about whether they are oriented correctly. I'm just going to get them into position like that. Then I will turn things back and have a look. Now, really clear to see that the white orange and the blue orange both need to be flipped. White orange and blue orange. Okay, they are up there. If the 2 were there, I could turn it around like this and do the same thing on those faces, but I can now use just the standard algorithm for doing that. And now, when I turn back my pieces, you'll see that all edges are solved. So that's the edges done. And I now want to look at placing the corners. Now, this is one of the reasons that this gets a little trickier than some of the others, is because I really want to do the corners in a specific order. And that order, again, if I think about what 3 corners or what happens when I turn this around, just watch those 2. So I turn that there. Then I'm going to turn this here. Those 3 corners are the corners that I can happily cycle as I wish once I've done the others. So the other 3 are these 2 and that one. So let's follow that one. It lives up the top right there. And these 2, in fact, these 2 live over here. Now, what that tells me is I need to do this one first, then I want to do these 2 because they are kind of trapped over here, so they're harder to get at. So I ignore everything else and just say I want to place the yellow, green, red where the orange, blue, white is. So initially, I'll turn things to where they should be and just see how easy that is. Yellow, green, red is there. Orange, blue, white is there. It's not super easy at the moment because it's not like one of them's over here. That'd be really nice. So the question then is there a simple-ish way that I can move pieces around? And I'm absolutely sure there is. It's just a matter of thinking it through. So if I could get the yellow, green, red either to here or actually to here would also do the job, and I can explain exactly why. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm firstly going to move yellow, green, red over to here. And I'm just going to do that with a standard down, down, up, up times 3. It's going to swap these 2, but remember, I don't care about anything else at the moment. Just these I'm interested in. So let's move it over to there. Now, yellow, green, red is in that position. I want to place it here. What I'm going to do next is do another edge piece series times 3, but instead of turning this face down and this face down, I'm going to turn this face down and then this face up. And what that's going to do is, instead of swapping these 2 and these 2, it's going to swap these 2 and these 2. So what's going to happen there? The one that I want to place will land here. The position that I want it will land here. And then I can do a swap and put them back. So that is the kind of thing that I need to think through to fairly easily get the corners where I want them, particularly these first 2 or 3. So let's do that. Let's move this to here and this one to here. Okay, you will see yellow, green, red is there. That white, blue, orange, which was in the position I wanted, has moved from here to here. Now I can happily swap those 2. Okay, now that those 2 are swapped, I can move things back. And what that's going to do is move this one to here and the yellow, green, red into its exact position. Not only that, it happens to have been solved. Now, again, let's now put things back. I'm sure you'll agree, that's not hard. It's just a matter of thinking through what to put where and do very, very simple sequences. So that was the first corner that I wanted. The next two are these two here. So what I'm thinking is I'll try one at a time. I've got orange, yellow, blue position. So I need to put orange, green, yellow into orange, blue, yellow. Let's have a look at that first. Orange, green, yellow. There's orange, blue, yellow. Now, if that wasn't there, I could just turn this down and probably do something there. And also this clock makes it impossible to do that same sort of thing. So that's not super simple at the moment, although you will note that I could do the same thing. I could swap these two, swap these two, swap those two, put them back. And that may be where I head. But before I do that, I'm going to put them back and have a look at the other one. The other one needs orange, blue, yellow to go to orange, blue, white. Let's have a look at that. Orange, blue, yellow to go to orange, blue, white. Well, that doesn't actually seem any easier. So that's why in this case, I will do what I hinted at before. I'm going to move these two to these middle positions and then swap them and then move them back. So to move the pieces like that, instead of doing an up, up, I'm going to do an up, down, undo, undo. Okay, they are both there. Now I can swap them. Now, just remember, that's the one we did and that's not being touched. So that's fine. So what I don't want to do now is an up, up, because it will touch that one. I now need to do a down, down. Okay, that has swapped the two pieces. Now I can go ahead and unposition them. Okay, let's have a look. We'll put things back. There we go. And we'll see that, in fact, the orange, yellow, green has been placed. That also has been oriented, which is actually quite unusual. Quite unusual that that's there. So I hope they're not all going to be oriented, because I'm going to have to set up for some twisting. But let's continue. Now I've got the next one that I said, and remember, I don't care that this one is done yet. I may need to use this. I wanted to do that one and then these two. So this one, I need the orange, blue, yellow to go to orange, green, white. Ah, look at that. Orange, blue, yellow, orange, green, white. That's not going to be touched. That's not going to be touched. This is very simple. 3 down, down, up, ups. All done. Let's put things back and note that now that and that one are in position. That leaves 1, 2, 3. Now, obviously the last 3 corners, it's possible they could be solved or at least in position. In this case, they are not, and I just need to take a look at the cycling order. So white, orange, green needs to go to yellow, blue, red. Notice how these 3 pieces are now here. White, orange, green to yellow, blue, red. So the piece direction is here to here to here. It's going this way. Now, the way I'm going to do this is really simple, and it's the single algorithm Rubik's Cube move to get corners in place. It's just an up, up, down, down, turn the upper face, and then undo all that. Now, normally what that would do is move this to here, this to here, this to here. Because the piece movement is opposite, I'm going to do the U-turn first. So I'm going to turn that to there. Notice that the clock turns, but it's still not involved, which is why I've chosen the order I have. Okay, so now an up, up, down, down, undo the U-turn and undo the edge piece series. Okay, now that should now be done. Let's put everything back and have a look. Yes, all those corners are in position. I hope you're seeing at the moment that this should not really seem like a, quote, very difficult cube. Well, maybe I'll come unstuck in the corners. We'll have to wait and see. But that is what I need to do now, is to twist the corners. And I do want to take care of twisting in the same order. So I would look at this one first, then these two. So this one here, orange, yellow, blue, needs to be twisted anti-clockwise. That's all I'm going to remember. That's got to be twisted anti-clockwise. Now, I can't really do it here. Where I need the corners to be twisted is these two positions. Having said that, it is also possible to kind of turn things around. If they were here, that would work nicely as well. So here I've got the green on top. Here I've got the orange on top. I could also look at the yellow on top, and if they were in that position, potentially that would work, although I've got these two clocks. So in this case, it's not super simple to get this one twisted in that position. So here's what I'm going to do. Remembering that I said I don't want to touch that one, I don't want to touch that one, but everything else I don't care about. That's got to be twisted anti-clockwise. I am going to swap that to there and then twist it in that position and then swap it back. There we go, that is swapped. I've got to twist it anti-clockwise, which means this one I'll twist clockwise. Don't care what happens to it, but I do want to twist that clockwise. So 2 up, up, down, downs now. That's been twisted. Turn the other one into place and twist this one anti-clockwise. And return. The twisting has been completed. I now want to swap these two back again. And you will notice that, in fact, that now looks really good. So once again, if we go and put all this back together, that has been twisted, and that will leave this one, and this one. In this case, there's only 2 to do. If there were 3 to do, well, actually, let's see where these 2 land. That's probably more important. The orange, green, white has to be twisted anti-clockwise. Okay, these have both landed in perfect position. Let's say that one of them was here. What I would do before twisting is just cycle the corners around as needed so that both the corners that needed to be twisted were in these positions. Then I would twist them and then I would cycle them back. In fact, I'm so concerned about making sure that's clear, I'm going to set up for it now. Okay, here we go. And this time I've got this one needing to be twisted and that one needing to be twisted there. So remember, the orange, green, white now needs to go anti-clockwise. So I'm going to move them into the standard position, and you'll see that the 2 that I want to be here are not actually here. One's here, one's there. So what I would do now is cycle these 2 up to here, and it doesn't matter how I do it as long as I get them there. So in this case, I can see that if that goes to there and that goes to there, both my problem corners will be in that position. That's perfect. Now, is there another way that I could do this? Yes, I could simply turn the puzzle around and check if this is going to be possible. Well, I can certainly turn my upper face, no problem. Can I turn these faces? Well, I'm going to have to do up, up, down, down. So I would go up, up, and you see I run into a problem. So that's not really an option. I'm going to come back to here and say, all right, I've got a cycle. So to cycle this to here and this to here, that is the piece movement. All I want to do is go up, up, down, down, then turn this one around, then undo everything. Now, what that has done is put the 2 that need to be twisted here. And if you remember, the orange, white, green needed to be twisted anti-clockwise. So that means this needs to be twisted clockwise. Away we go. In order to twist this clockwise, it's 2 up, up, down, downs. Then I bring the other one in and do the opposite and return that upper face. Now, everything has been twisted, but you'll notice I still need to cycle these corners back home. Now, all that you want to do to make sure this is done correctly is think, how did you cycle them there? Well, we did an up, up, down, down, then we moved that face. Then we did the other up, up, down, down, and returned that face. So to undo it, I've now got to do the U-turn first, then the up, up, down, down, then undo the U-turn and undo the second up, up, down, down, and you'll notice that as we're doing that, everything is just coming back perfectly. Now, with that being done, we can, for the last time, undo that little turn, undo that turn, and we'll see that the Jupiter bandage clock, or the bandage clock Jupiter, has been solved. And I didn't come unstuck there, which is good. Occasionally I do, just with some of the setups, but hopefully you can see, yeah, that actually wasn't that hard. So I would not put this in the very difficult category. However, I suppose it's a really good point to go, it does depend on the method that you're using. So perhaps there's a different method here which would make this much harder. I like this method. It's so similar to some of the other bandage clocks. I'm happy with that outcome. Well, here is the puzzle for the next video. This one is called Stalactites. And there it is. You can kind of see why if you know anything about stalactites. And what have we got? We've got a bar at front right. We've got a clock at front to front up, and another clock at right to right up. That's the only three pieces on the puzzle. And this one was proposed by Burjo along with another one called Stalactites and Stalagmites. That one, I believe, I haven't looked at it yet, is much harder than this one. This one, it's not a super simple one, but it's also probably not one that you'd tear your hair out over. So good puzzle, and we will be looking at stalactites in the next video.